All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Recently, we reflected on what happened on Monday Night Raw. We talked about what to expect in terms of WWE NXT Spring Break-In, a 2 week event. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. I like it. I like her a lot. But moving on to our next segment, we're talking about our AEW Dynasty review. I heard AEW, the Dynasty numbers were pretty good. Very, very good. You saw top talent. You didn't really see like a dud match, although a lot of people claim that the AEW FTR championship was kind of like one of the worst matches they've seen in a long time. Obviously, we'll dive deep on into it, but yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So we had Trent Beretta defeating Mike Sindel. And we also have Katsuri Shibata and Orange Cassidy defeating the Shane Taylor Promotions. I know that was big because the Shane Taylor Promotions they've had their success. They've been killing it on Ring of Honor. Maybe they can't step it up when it comes to AEW, perhaps. No, I'm just kidding. But next, you had the Bullet Club Gold defeating the Acclaim. The AEW Trios Championship and the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championships are now unified, which is no surprise. Honestly, very, very impressed by Switchblade Jay White. Very, very, very impressed. I hope no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say I hope he moves to WWE because honestly, the way he's wrestling right now in AEW, Ring of Honor, et cetera, et cetera, I think it's perfect for him. I think it's perfect for him, and I think bringing him to WWE would slow him down more than it would propel his career. So, I think he's in a great place right now. Now, obviously you can always propel your career, obviously. Like, I know a lot of people say that WWE is kind of like the steeple, which it's not completely wrong. It's not completely wrong. But ultimately, I think Switchblade is better off, where he is at right now. All right, well, yeah, anyways, moving on, we also had Kazuchika Okada defeating the Bastard Pac. Ultimately, it was a pretty good match, but I really thought that it was going to be like a little more like, no, it was high flying. Maybe I'm just being picky. Maybe I'm just being picky. But hey, I'm the host, so I can be as picky as I want. No, I'm just kidding. Next, we have Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe versus the House of Black. Black Mist, Malachi Black blew Black Mist into Adam Copeland's face, ultimately getting the win, causing Eddie Kingston, Adam Copeland, and Mark Briscoe fans. I'm very those three guys I'm huge fans of. So very, very cool. Obviously, Malachi Black doing his thing and just doing whatever he wants. Next, we have Willow of Nightingale defeats Julia Hart for the AEW TBS Championship. This match kind of got like a lot of scrutiny around the professional wrestling world because a lot of people complained that this match was only 6 minutes long. And for something that was being built up for such a long time, and you only have it last 6 minutes, I don't know about that. A lot of people have speculation saying that Julia Hart is hurt, that she's injured. That could very much play a part of it. Very, very much so. And it would make honestly a whole bunch of sense. We could, a whole bunch of sense of her dropping the title to Willow at AEW Dynasty. Or you could have had, just people buttering up, getting ready for the Mercedes Monet Double or Nothing TBS Championship #1 contenders match that she's going to fight against Willow of Nightingale, the last person she fought against during her injury, where she essentially got pushed off the top rope, landed on her foot, broke her foot, was told she could probably never wrestle again. Her make her comeback story, yada, yada, yada. It's going to happen. Double or Nothing for the TBS Championship. So, excited for that. All right. Next, we have Roderick Strong retains his international championship against Kyle O'Reilly. Both of these guys were in the Undisputed Era back in the WWE. Really, really loved it. You had O'Reilly and Fish as the NXT World Tag Team Champions. You had Roderick Strong as the North American Champion. Of course, you had Adam Cole as your NXT World Champion, which was kind of like the glory days of WWE NXT. I thought that was, super, super cool. Next, we have this match. This match that got, kind of a lot of criticism here. Even the fans themselves chanted Chris Jericho to please retire. Please retire. Please retire. Like, it was crazy. It was kind of awkward, to be honest. Well, Chris Jericho did it. He defeated Hook for the FTW Championship. It was a physical battle, a lot of violence. To be honest, I watched highlights of the match, and Chris, he's looking a little old. But what do you expect? He's looking a little old. He's looking a little slow, taking his matches more very slowly and very thoroughly because you don't want to pull anything. You don't want to get hurt, especially in a hardcore match. Especially in a hardcore match. Ultimately, you saw, Chris Jericho do a couple Judas, didn't put down Hook. It took a baseball bat to the head for Chris Jericho to become new AEW FTW champion Chris Jericho. And please retire. Is that fair to say to Chris Jericho after all he's kind of did for AEW? I think the fans were kind of in the wrong with that. And I'm not saying that because I have bias because I watched Chris Jericho growing up in the Attitude Era, and I even saw Chris Jericho kind of wrestle in WCW a little bit. But to be honest, I don't know. Like, I feel like Chris Jericho has so many outs where he could probably just up and leave and go to the WWE, but he's not going to do that. He's going to stay low to, the AEW. Well, I don't know. Who knows after what happens to what happened on Saturday. All right, next we have the timeless Tony Storm defeating Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship. So Tony Storm retains. She retained. She's very impressive. Obviously, there had to be some kind of gray area where I think she grabbed the referee's leg or something like that, and it kind of threw off Thunder Rosa. But I kind of really thought that this was Thunder Rosa's time. She gave up the AEW World Women's Championship. She had to relinquish it, and I don't know, just kind of it was crazy. I really thought that she was going to pick up the victory here. All in all, great match, great battle. Not should never ever be ashamed of that. But it would have been cool to see Thunder Rosa get the AEW World Women's Championship back around her waist. Of course, in my opinion, all the time. Next we have Will Ospreay, Daniel Bryan. This match, I guess, got a lot of praises around the wrestling community, saying that this is a wrestling match of the year in all of wrestling, including WWE. So I guess it was an instant classic. But this was surprisingly one of the matches that I have not yet watched. I can't wait to see it. Will Ospreay is very very impressive. You have Bryan Danielson kind of going toward the end of his career. But and then, like I said, he kind of had that kayfabe injury, but ultimately he was okay. Even Will Ospreay said that he was going to retire his move, the Storm Driver, just so it doesn't injure anybody again. So next, we have the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks defeated FTR in a ladder match. You saw Jack Perry came out, ultimately kind of giving them the boost that they needed to win. I am not a huge fan of this decision, but I guess the match was really good until that moment. Like, I kind of knew that the Elite, the EVPs, were going to kind of become like a championship. And also, I just I don't know why people like the Young Bucks so much. I don't think they're that special. Obviously if you're on a wrestling brand, it's cool. But I don't know. Like, I would have rather saw FTR kind of pick up the win here. But that could be like me kind of being a little biased because I'm like, oh great, now the Elite have all the titles and I saw it coming. I know these guys would do this, like, yeah, like, maybe it could be me being a little oversensitive. But the Young Bucks, they did it. They are the new AEW World Tag Team Champions, thanks to a nice little assist by Jack Perry. So good for them. All right, next we have our AEW main event, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe fighting Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland ultimately picked up the victory. Very very happy and proud for Swerve. He did it all on his own. Stayed patient. Well, not completely patient, but he went out. He antagonized Joe. He got under his skin, got in his head, and not a lot of people could do that to Samoa Joe. Not very little people in the wrestling community could say that they had that advantage over Samoa Joe. And Swerve did it. He was able to Swerve stomp him. Pretty good. He took like two of them. But it was a great match. Tough battle. These guys literally look like they beat the crap out of each other whenever you see that in a wrestling promotion. Super awesome. Swerve Strickland is the first ever AEW African American to hold the world title, which is also a nice little milestone to have because, he deserves it. He went from rapping to wrestling. Quite a transition, quite a jump, quite a career change. And he's standing on top of the AEW world right now as your world heavyweight champion. So, honestly, throwing flowers to Swerve Strickland. I think I think he deserves it. I think he deserves it. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with his character from now on. I think that Samoa Joe is probably going to invoke his rematch clause, but right now, Swerve, just enjoy it while you got it, my man. Enjoy it while you got it. Well, hey, don't go anywhere. Next, we're going to talk about WWE draft. We're going to talk about top prospects and kind of dive into like a little analysis of these superstars and also talk about what kind of entertainment factor they can bring to your show. So, hey, don't go anywhere.